Good evening and welcome into episode 6 of the Rich Petroski Show. Happy to be joined, as always, by the head coach of the St. Joseph Chargers, Rich Petroski. I'm Connor Klein, and we're going to have a special guest tonight, Shamar McDade Bishop, a big member of the St. Joseph Charger football team. Thank you for joining us live from the team dinner from St. Joseph High School here on ASN Chicago. And as always, we'd like to remind you that tonight's show is brought to you by Meatheads in Elmhurst, a place you can enjoy with your whole family from the moment you walk into the door until the moment you leave. Meatheads at 143 North York Street in Elmhurst. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm trying to eat and trying to do everything here. So I'm doing good, though. Just getting mentally focused, man. I think a lot of these kids feed off of me, so if they see I'm mentally focused, they're totally 100% into getting this game going and things like that. So we're excited. We want today to be Friday already because we just want the game to start already.
That's the right attitude to have. Well, last week in this cafeteria, you said that a win on homecoming night would be the first time in program history with 2 straight homecoming wins. How big of a moment was that for your program?
It was a huge accomplishment. I take my hat off to the senior class. They, day in and day out, they're doing so much for this program. They're showing these younger kids how things are supposed to be done, how we're supposed to be in. And without them and without my coaching staff, none of this would be happening right now. So,
absolutely. And with that, Coach, we'll give you a chance to eat a little bit.
All right.
And we're going to have Shamar McDade Bishop, one of the senior leaders on this St. Joseph squad. Shamar, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
And Shamar, you actually play a lot of different positions for this team. Can you tell the fans out there everything that you do for this squad?
I play offensive line. I play right tackle, right guard, left guard, right tackle. Only thing I haven't played is center. That's about it. Defense, I play defensive tackle. I could play a little bit of DN if I needed to. Right now, I'm starting at linebacker. This was my homecoming. This was my first time at linebacker, so I got my feet wet a little bit. So.
And how did you adjust to that position change going from defensive tackle to linebacker for the first time in your career?
I adjusted pretty well because during 707 I played linebacker a lot. So I was working on my speed, working on my feet. So that adjustment, it went over pretty well.
And do you think it's easier or harder to play linebacker? Because you got to make some reads out there, definitely.
Linebacker is definitely difficult because at D tackle, I really didn't have much. Now I'm running through plays, calling out plays, motion, everything. So it's definitely difficult.
And how much do you think this coaching staff expects out of you because you're a senior, not just in your play, but kind of as a leader as well?
Oh, man, they expect a lot. They expect so much out of me, to uphold the younger guys, to get the younger guys going. That's why I just try and go out every game and just, ball out.
And Shamar, you've done it so far this season. You've laid a lot of big hits out there. What's your mentality on defense? You show a lot of aggressiveness out there.
Yeah, I just go out there with a chip on my shoulder. When they get in long yardage plays, I hate it. I just try and get us back on track so that we can stop them, get off the field.
And playing both ways, how do you stay in the shape to do that, playing on the offensive line and now linebacker? Earlier in the year you were at defensive tackle.
Just going hard in practice, taking every drill serious. Defense, we work on our pursuit drills a lot, so that gets me in shape. We do a lot of conditioning, and that's just how I stay in shape.
And Shamar, being a senior, you've kind of witnessed the change in this program, the first playoff appearance. What do you think is the biggest difference from when you were a freshman to when you're a senior now with this program?
Oh, man. The biggest thing probably just the focus. Probably more like the focus. And last year, we bought in more. It was the first time probably ever since like my freshman year on to my junior year, we actually bought in. And, Coach, he gave us everything that we needed and everything that we wanted. So that made us buy even more.
How does it feel this season, though, coming off the conference championship, making the playoffs for the first time in program history? Do you kind of feel that target on your back, whereas before you were kind of the hunters, now you're the hunted?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We definitely the top dogs right now in the red division. So, it's definitely a target on our back right now.
And defensively, you guys have had 8 straight quarters of shutout football. Talk a little bit about the play of this defense as a whole unit.
Man, the defense, the big thing, we communicate. That's our biggest thing. Make sure we communicate and make sure we on the same page.
And offensively, Caleb Hayden, the quarterback, he faced a lot of pressure in week 1, but since then you guys have been protecting him a lot better. What's kind of changed in the past couple of weeks in that regard?
We just, we get in our own head. We just got to calm down and get into our own and make sure that he doesn't get touched at all.
Absolutely, and you guys are doing a great job of that. Shamar, you guys are playing Chicago Hope tomorrow night. They're 3-0. How excited are you guys for this game?
Man, we so excited, man. We ready for it. This game has been circled for a long time. Since we knew they were joining the CCL, this has been circled. So we definitely ready.
You guys are definitely excited for a challenge as well. The last 2 weeks, outscoring your opponent South Beloit 69-0 and then 29-0. Probably expecting a little bit of a tighter game tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We definitely going to go out like it's an opponent that's really about it.
Well, Shamar, thank you so much for coming on and joining us and giving Coach Petroski a chance to eat tonight. And thank you, and we're looking forward to watching you. You've been playing great all season.
All right, thank you.
Well, Coach, that was great to have Shamar on, and has to be great for you to have him as a senior leader of this team.
Yeah, after losing really the heart and soul of the team last year, having those guys leave and graduating 14 seniors and having Shamar come back and, Zach Ford and, there's a couple others sprinkled in there, but having those two guys, it's unbelievable. I can't ask for better leadership than those two.
Well, Shamar is one of the veteran players on this team, but overall, it's a young team. And with these 2 consecutive wins, how much confidence do you think the younger players have gained?
Oh, ton. I'm starting a freshman at receiver, and he doesn't look like a freshman, I can tell you that much. And the thing about it is that he just last week we talked about it. He was really nervous about playing and things like that, and I took him to the side. I go, hey, listen, it's all a mental game, man. And once you realize that you can be out here playing with these guys and doing what you're supposed to do, there's going to be nobody that can stop you. And I think he's starting to realize that, and he's starting to come in his own. He got the first touchdown this week, and I think that's what really – he's just like, hey, I can play with anybody now. And I think that's the confidence he got out of it.
And that was Tim Shannon, the freshman receiver. We'll talk a little bit more about him later. But you guys are back home again this week, and your home games are at Elmhurst College. As you said, it isn't like a true home, but at the same time, how exciting is it for your players to be able to play at a college facility as their home field?
The great thing about it is that with them going over there, Elmhurst just stick around to watch the games and things like that. So technically they're getting recruited, and I think that's a great thing for them because now not only are the juniors and seniors getting recruited, but also the freshmen and sophomores. And I think playing on Friday night in Elmhurst, it's a great thing. Having the train come, you guys haven't seen the train yet, but when the train comes through and things like that, and they're blowing the horn, it's awesome. It's a great feeling. And we're making it our home field now, and that's what I think is the biggest thing, is to make it our home.
Well, and you've set the new mantra for the team as keep the train rolling. Does that have a little bit to do with it?
Yeah, actually it does, because, every time, it never failed since I've been here and coaching here. Every time a trains went by, we've scored a touchdown. So I'm hoping that we get about 8 to 10 trains tomorrow, so that way we can score every time, because we got a pretty good thing going on there. So
maybe want to give somebody a call, change up the schedule a little bit for the train.
I think I'm gonna call Metro tonight and go, hey, can you get a little more Metro trains coming through there?
At this time, we'd like to remind you that tonight's episode of the Rich Petroski Show is also brought to you by CleaverSupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements for when genetics are not enough. And at this time, we're going to recap the action from last week. Kind of a more significant JV game last Friday as the Chargers took on Christ the King Academy, the first game in the history of that program. How cool was that for you? And you guys have a connection to them as well.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. Our JV which is only made up of juniors or freshmen and sophomores, played their quote-unquote varsity team because they had 8 seniors there. But, yeah, we have a connection there. The head coach, Kevin Gallmeyer, and the offensive coordinator, Bob DiCarlo, actually coached here back in the day. Gallmeyer was here, I want to say 15, 16 years teaching here and coaching football for like 10 of that. And Bob DiCarlo was here for, I want to say, about 5 to 6 years, and he coached every year he was here. So, you know, it was a great feeling to have them out and great feeling for them to actually be out there playing a football game. I'm very excited for them. They're a great bunch of guys, you know what I mean? I still talk to them on a regular basis. So I'm really proud that we were able to do something with them to get their feet wet and things like that.
And the JV took the win 12-6. What did you see in their performance? As you said, kind of a challenge for them going against older players.
Yeah, you know what? The thing about our freshman class is that it's kind of a bad thing, but it's also kind of a good thing because they're not all together. So them playing older guys, it really doesn't make a difference for them. They're just out there to play a football game, and I think that's what's huge for our JV team. They don't care who they put in front of them. They're going to whip them every time that they want to get out there. So,
and they certainly look good on Friday night. And we'd like to remind you at this time, tonight's show is brought to you by Meatheads, the official sponsor of St. Joseph Chargers football programming. We provide a full-service, made-to-order dining experience serving high-quality, fresh, never-frozen ingredients, including 100% Angus beef hamburgers, hand-breaded chicken tenders, and chicken sandwiches, as well as real Idaho potatoes, freshly cut every day. Meatheads at 143 North York Street in Elmhurst. Now getting on to the varsity game. You guys were hosting Catalyst Maria. You talked about it a little bit last week. How difficult was it to prepare for a CPS school? Probably a little bit less information than you're going to have going against a CCL school.
It was difficult, but at the same token, like I said, we had film on them from 2 years ago when they first got their program together. So we watched a little bit of that. We knew what we were in store for. My defense coordinator knows the head coach over there, so we knew what we were coming into and things like that. So, but preparation this week was 100 times different than last week. We just did the things that we needed to do this week and shore up a little bit, shore up that a little bit, and we're hopefully coming out with that W.
Well, early in the ball game, Catalyst Maria has a big passing play. They get inside the 10-yard line. Your defense kind of pushes them back a little bit and then gets an interception. How impressed were you with their ability to stand up like that in the red zone after they kind of gave up a big play?
It comes back to the senior leadership there. They knew that they didn't want to get scored on, and that's all they told the defense. We're not getting scored on. And Zach came up with that big interception to catch the ball and run the way Zach runs, and the slippery guy he is, he's just running back, and it's a great thing, and again, I have to attest, it's Coach Brown, the defensive side of the ball. He's second to none when it comes to defensive coordinators. I don't know where we would have been in a couple of these games if it wasn't for him.
Well, we'll move over to the offensive side of the ball. First quarter, Caleb Hayden throws a beautiful touchdown pass to that freshman, Tim Shannon, in the back corner of the end zone. Take us through that play.
All I know is that we went the trips to one side. I just wanted to see how he would react one-on-one on the backside, and Tim did exactly what we wanted him to do. We told him to go up, get the ball, and that's exactly what he did. He just jumped over the kid, caught the ball, and there's your second high school touchdown right there. And it was a great feeling for him because he came off to the sideline, came up to me and goes, now I know what it's like to be a varsity football player. And I'm like, that's all you needed, man. That's all you needed. And that's he's a great kid. So,
and that's exactly what you want to hear. And he's just a freshman. What did he show you in practice in fall camp that gave you the confidence in him to put him out there in those kind of situations?
Oh, man. Him, Ezekiel Boos, Zuri Morris, Angel Camacho. Those are my 4 freshman studs. Angel, Tim, and Ezekiel all played with the Berwyn Mustangs last year, and they've been playing together since they were about 8 or 9 years old. And Zuri's been playing with the Garfield Park Gators. So I got 4 quality football players that come to school here. And, those 4 were here all summer. They were even here before they were even out of 8th grade. They were coming up here. They were doing the things they were supposed to do to get ready to come here and things like that. And they show commitment all throughout whatever we had going on here. They were here for every little thing that we did. And it just shows the commitment effort that they have, and going forward, the commitment that they're going to give us here. And I'm really happy for this freshman class.
And
I'm
how
really excited.
huge is it for your program to get players who have that experience playing tackle football? A lot of times in high school, you get freshmen who have not played tackle, but you have 4 guys right there, and probably more, who have that experience with the physicality.
Oh, it's great, because now you know who we can depend on as leaders. And those guys are definitely leaders on and off the football field. So I just can't wait to see them grow. And that's the biggest thing. So.
And we've seen it already throughout the season. After that touchdown, Amir Bergy scores on a 2-point conversion to make it 8-0. How big of an asset is he in those situations? Because you guys like to go for 2, and you try to go to him a lot of the time.
Amir is just Amir. There's not much I can say about him. You know what I mean? He's that slippery guy that if we had 6'3", 300-pound linemen, you would never see Amir, because Amir would hide right behind those guys, and he'd be grabbing them back of the jerseys and telling them where to go and things like that. And it's unbelievable to see Amir run, because he has that sneaky speed. Once he hits it, he's gone, and I think that's what everybody's starting to see now.
And just with the receivers and also the running backs, you guys substitute quite a bit. The receiver-wise, you've got Zach Ford playing a lot, Tim Shannon, Dakota Church getting out there as well. How do you guys develop that chemistry with those guys moving off the field? And you run an up-tempo, so it's advantageous to have that many players who can go out there.
It's all about how we practice during the week. Me and my receiver coach, Chris Ricca, we do that on a daily basis, where we're throwing the kitchen sink at them, and we're just like, hey, this is the group that's going in now. Let's go. And you know what I mean? In practice, we run our tempo and everything like that. I don't slow it down for nothing. The only time we slow it down is when we're going coaching points, corrections, and things like that. But other than that, we're fast. You know what I mean? We're out there, and you know what I mean? Every time we score, we always do our extra point. So we get practice extra point every single day, because no matter what offensive practice we have, we're out there doing it. That's why we're getting so good at that extra point.
Yeah, and it's not even just the extra point, but all the special teams. You emphasized this earlier. You guys really work on that every single day in practice.
Yeah, we every day we have one part that is specifically for what we're doing. So we might have one that we have offensive day. We might go punt just to get the offense out, punt team on there. Next day we might go defense, where we go punt return, and then we might go one day where we have kickoff return, part of the offense or defense, because that what leads us into that. So everything is game situation here. Everything we try to do is always how the game is played, and I think the kids are starting to realize that, and they're understanding that.
Well, with the special teams, you have a big addition now. Lucas Tank Hansen from the soccer team coming on as a kicker. He booted through his first extra point.
Yeah, he's been itching to come out the last he's only a sophomore. So he's been itching to come out since last year, but we finally got the okay for him to come out from soccer and things like that. And he was nailing in pregame. He was nailing probably 45-yarders without like a blink of an eye. It was effortless for him to kick it through and things like that. So he's definitely going to be that. If we need that 3 points, I'm not going to be afraid to kick it.
Well, when you get into CCL play, there's going to be times where you're going to need those 3 points.
Exactly.
At this time, we'd like to remind you tonight's episode of the Rich Petroski Show is also brought to you by CleaverSupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements for when genetics are not enough. Moving on to later in that first half, Caleb Hayden found Desmond McPhail near the goal line, where he was able to pretty much walk into the end zone. Take us through that touchdown play.
Me thinking about it, I don't even remember what I called. All I know is that Caleb had to scramble a little bit, and when he scrambled a little bit, Desmond was just sitting there, and Caleb threw a beautiful ball. every day I'm amazed by the way he throws the football because his arm is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm just like, man, Caleb, you don't know, man.
and the other thing is he continues to look more accurate every single week.
You know what I mean? The good thing about it is that he doesn't play a defensive position. So when we go defensive practices, all his focus is on playing quarterback. And that's all we do with him. We actually take him to the side, me and the quarterback coach, and that's all we work on. Hey, throw the ball here. Pour the cup, pour the water out, pour the water out, pour the water out. And he's starting to realize that pouring the water out is just going to help him. And he was throwing a beautiful ball today, too. And it was a defensive day, and he was just throwing a beautiful ball today. I'm just like, man, why can't this be Friday already, man?
Well, I talked about it a little bit with Shamar earlier, but your offensive line seems to really have improved since week 1. And we talked a little bit last week about Anthony Brown, not even just blocking, but how about his ability to snap the football? You guys run a ton of shotgun snaps, and I haven't seen him make many mistakes out there.
Yeah, he was a center last year on the JV team, and the problem is that we didn't have a center this year. So we're like, hey, AB, guess what you get to do again? And AB's like, man, I thought I was going to play a different position. And we're like, hey, it's necessity, AB. And AB is one of those kids that he's the, hey, coach, you need me to play it? That's what I'm going to do. And AB's a great kid. He, you know what I mean? His father is actually our parents' club president, per se. He's the one that runs our parents' AB, Mr. Brown is the one that puts this dinner on every Thursday and things like that. He's the one communicating to parents and things like that. So his family, him is great. His twin sister, actually one of our managers. So, you know what I mean? The whole family's out there. And just having AB, because he's not only a leader out when we're practicing, but he's also a leader on the field. He makes sure the linemen are in the proper stances. He's the proper where they're supposed to be. He's everything out there. He's our coach on the field. He really is.
And it's a huge advantage to have that. And as I said to Shamar and you a little bit earlier, that offensive line looks so much improved from the first week against Elmwood Park.
Yeah, we're going to get a little bit more tests this week. But, you know what I mean, we switched. Mike LaGuardia played 2 years ago, didn't play last year. And he's doing a great job. He was a center. And we told him, hey, Mike, you're going to be a guard. And he took it like a grain of salt and said, whatever you need me to. And, you know what I mean, he had a pancake in that game last week. So, you know what I mean, Rob Herod, he's an offensive tackle. He's the opposite of Shamar. He had 3 pancakes in that game. You know what I mean? They're growing into themselves finally, and they're finally realizing, hey, we can do this. And I think that's the biggest thing is that they understand that they can do it now.
Yeah, and as you said, definitely a step up in competition this week, but you can see them gaining that confidence.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They don't care who they're going against. You know what I mean? We might have a little trouble with a little bit faster guy just because we're not as fast as we should be on the line. But other than that, you know what I mean? These guys will go toe-to-toe against anybody. You know what I mean? We're going to have Brother Rice in 3-4 weeks now. And I told them, I'm like, hey, man, they're not any different than us. They're all juniors, too. You don't care who's in front of you. It's all about our technique, the way we teach it, and that's what's going to make us win.
Well, Coach, in the second half, Mekhi Eland picks up a fumble, takes it to the end zone. Actually, before that even, Malik Mason has a pick six. Your defense starting to score points. How impressed were you with that, and how happy were you about that?
All I know is I look to my side and I see my Coach Brown, jumping up and down, going crazy. And, you know what I mean, once we get hype and we get into the game, the players feed off of us. And that's the biggest thing. They see us excited. They see us jumping around. They know that it's time to have fun now and let's play the game. And Coach Brown was just going crazy. Coach Brown even knew that was he called it on the headset. He's like, this is going to be a pick six. And we're like, what? Next thing you know, Malik picks it off and runs it back. And we're just like, okay. We see how it is. We got it now. We got it. Okay.
Not the first time this season that you've had a coach call a play for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Zach against South Beloit on that screen pass, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was you, actually, right, that called that one?
Yeah.
So those 2 defensive touchdowns made the final score 29-0. Coach, you get 2 passing touchdowns from Caleb Hayden, 2 defensive touchdowns. How much progress have you been seeing on both sides of the football just as a team?
Oh, tons. And I think with the pace that we run, the way we do our things, we are so fast up tempo. We're even up tempo on defense. If you notice us, we don't get in a huddle. We're not traditional. We're not traditionalists by nothing. But the thing about it is that we're so fast. We're so quick. That's the way we have to play. If we play slow, we're playing out of our game. And Coach Brown stresses that. I stress that offensively. We have to play to us. We don't play to anybody else. If they play to us, guess what? Now it's a track meet. Let's see what happens. If we play down to them, we end up like Elmwood Park, because we played down to Elmwood Park because we didn't expect it. We expected these things, but we didn't expect the same things out of them. And when we play down to our competition, that's what happens.
And this week they'll have to play up to Chicago Hope. That's the opponent coming in. They're 3-0. I already asked Shamar. It seems like this team is really pumped up for the game.
Yeah, like he said, we've had this circle since probably February. January maybe, when the schedules came out. And it's kind of funny because I'm actually friends with Matt Kelly, the head coach for Hope. And he called me. He goes, "Hey, Rich, how do you think it would be if I joined the CCL?" I'm like, "That'd be cool." Then next thing you know, the next phone call I get is, "Hey, we're in your conference." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." But we saw Hope on film last year because depending on how the brackets would have broke down, we might have had to play Hope. So we were watching Hope since last year, and we're very, 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 very similar teams. If anything, we're more similar as a team, both of us, than probably people I don't even know how to compare us. Like we're so close in speed, we're so close in size, we're so close in everything we do. It's unbelievable.
Hey, Charger fans, don't forget to stop by Meatheads at 143 North York Street in Elmhurst and enjoy our fast casual family restaurant that serves fresh experiences. And, Coach, you talk about how similar the two teams are. What's the biggest thing that stood out to you about Chicago Hope and the reason that they're 3-0, had a big win over Leo last week?
They're a big play team. We talked about that all week. They're a very, very big play team. They rely on a big play where we've come to the verbiage that we want to dink and dunk. I want to get back to my style offense, quick but dink and dunk, where they're a big play. They're looking for that home run right off the bat. And don't be surprised tomorrow if they get the ball first and they throw verts on the first play, because they're looking to get up and get up fast.
And that's certainly going to be a challenge for Zach Ford defensively in the backfield there.
Yeah, our DBs are definitely going to be tested this week. But the thing about it is that even though they're going to be tested, I'll put my DBs against any receivers out there because we're just so fast when it comes to that. And, we play great technique. And the biggest thing about us is that what I haven't seen from a lot of other teams, we're a gang tackle team. You'll see 4 or 5 helmets to the football, where most teams we see on film, there are only 1 or 2 hats there. And Coach Brown stresses that every time he's out there that we're gang tackling. We're gang tackling.
Well, certainly every single game is important, but does the intensity go up a notch in CCL play?
Well, from here on in, it's all CCL play, because after this we have Ignatius, DePaul, So our conference is far and above any other conference. I don't care what anybody tells me. Getting in a Catholic League, you have to do something special to be able to win and win big in the Catholic League. I don't care what team or what conference you're in. It don't matter. Day in and day out, when you play in the Catholic League, you're going to come up with somebody that you never even expected to come punch you in the mouth, because that's just a hard-nosed kind of programs we are.
Definitely a lot of history and tradition of the conference and a lot of talent. Coach, any final thoughts before tomorrow night's game?
Keep this train going. I did a commercial today, and that was my verbiage today. Is just keep the train going. I did another interview with somebody else, and I'm just like, that's all we're doing is keeping this train going. They're bought in now. The players are bought in. They know what is expected of them. They're not looking around like they were after week one. They know we're keeping this train going, and anything you see is what they're talking about, and that's all they talk about is keeping this train going.
We'll hope they can get it going again tomorrow night against Chicago Hope right here on ASN Chicago. That'll do it for this week's show. For Shamar McDade Bishop, Coach Rich Petroski, I'm Connor Klingen saying so long from St. Joseph High School, and thank you for joining us here on ASN Chicago. Chargers football coverage continues tomorrow night on ASN Chicago as the Chargers take on Chicago Hope.